Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, January 26th. Oh, what happened today? I don't know. Gee. Oh, yeah, there was a Fed meeting. I'm going to start off first by prefacing what I'm about to say by letting you know, and most of you probably already know this about me, I pay very little attention to Fed meetings. I pay very little attention to monetary policy. And I just think this whole tunnel vision focus on monetary policy and monetarism is a kind of a mental illness. But it is pervasive, it is institutionalized. I mean, it runs through every fabric of the financial industry, through the profession of economics, and I truly believe it's a kind of a mental illness. It was a great marketing coup by Milton Friedman about 50 years ago, and it has really seized our entire economic focus. It is the core of every kind of economic analysis or Wall Street analysis that you'll ever read or hear about, and it's a complete waste of time. And today, I mean, I have to kind of laugh because, and this is not just something that occurred today. I mean, this is every meeting. You get very highly paid people who are smart. They went all to the best schools. They went to Ivy League schools, Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Wharton, Stanford, you name it. And they're sitting there with intense, analysis, parsing every single word that the Fed says as if to, somehow uncover some secret meaning, okay? The whole entire macro picture is lost on them. I mean, they are like, delving down into the most minute and most meaningless nonsense. I don't even know of a better word to describe it. And so I just pay no attention to it. I look at it, as an outsider and kind of like, I laugh at it. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, you have all this brain power. Like today, the Fed said in its statement, it's going to soon, basically saying it's going to soon remove some accommodation. It's going to be time soon to remove some of this accommodation. So everybody's like, what does soon mean? What do they mean by soon? Is it March? Is it after that? Is it before that? I mean, it's like fucking ridiculous. Like, what does soon mean? And then it's like they didn't say anything about QT, quantitative tightening, right? Running off the balance sheet. I think they said something like that'll start after the rate hikes. See, again, I apologize. I don't pay any attention. What I did do, and I think I told you guys this, if not, I know my subscribers know this, and I sent out an email this morning and again right after the Fed statement when the market went up, like it was up, I said, sell that rally. Sell that rally. And sure enough, we came back down, so that was a good little trade. Now look, the market's oversold. We still have a fair amount of fiscal support. It's about I believe it's like 440 billion monthly. That's a little bit more than the pre-pandemic level, so that's not shabby. But the thing that I've been talking to you about is the surplus now. The government's running a surplus. As a matter of fact, I just did the numbers today. It's up to 21 billion for the month of January. We're not done with this month. If you just take 21 billion and you extrapolate that over a year, that's 240 billion, right? That's 240 billion surplus. And, it could grow much larger than that. So that's the thing for me, that's where I always focus on, and that's the thing that drives everything. And someone said to me, Mike, I've never seen you this bearish. And I said, well, I haven't seen a surplus in 21 years. I mean, I've only been writing my report since 2016, so no, like into 6, 7 years into writing it. And the whole entire time, I mean, it's been a relatively easy call. I talked about this yesterday. Like some of you were calling me a perma bull. I wasn't. It's just like you got expanding deficits every single year. These are massive, and in the last 2 years, unprecedented fiscal transfers to the non-government, you know. And that you can't be bearish in that situation. You just can't be bearish. Okay, maybe you could talk a little bit about inflation. Price is going to go up because of inflation. And by the way, that wouldn't even have happened had we not had the pandemic and the supply chain issues, because it wasn't happening until we got hit with the pandemic and the supply chain issues. So I mean, for me, it was always about that. The price increases were never, to me, really about money, you know, the government spending money or running deficits. It was more about the pandemic and the supply chain issues. But I want you to think about this for a second, because step back and just kind of understand that, you know, this entire industry, and even outside the industry, like I said, I mean, you're talking about corporate CEOs, corporate treasurers, you're talking about, you know, people planning businesses, like everything is just Fed, central bank, monetary policy, monetarism. I'm telling you, it's a disease, man. It's a disease. I mean, the Fed doesn't even really, it's not that it doesn't understand its role, but it thinks it can do things that it really cannot do. And I've gone over this so many times. You know, the Fed's a bank. It can lend against assets. As the government's bank, it has no constraint or no limit on how much it can credit, you know, bank reserves. All right. So in that regard, it's different than a regular commercial bank. And it has a price setting function. All right. And that price setting function, it's the same thing like inflation or deflation. One cohort of the economy benefits, another cohort of the economy loses out, okay? When prices go up, when the Fed sets rates higher, that raises the general price level because the cost of credit is reflected in the cost of all goods and services. So then, you know, creditors benefit, savers benefit, debtors, they lose out. They got to pay more. So it's a redistribution of income. It goes from the debtors to the creditors, and vice versa. When it goes to, when rates go down, okay, then it goes from the creditors and the savers to the debtors. You know, their debt burden becomes less. So essentially, that's functionally like having more money in your pocket. They get a boost in their income and savings, whereas the other cohort loses. So that's one function of the Fed, or the second function. I should say the first one is it's a lender. The second function is it's price setting, and price setting does nothing to, you know, it does nothing to add to the quantity of financial assets in the economy. It's just that's like the third function. It's a recomposition, right? You could have of the financial assets. Maybe they're going to add more reserves and take away government securities, which are, you know, dollar equivalents, or maybe they're going to add more government securities and take away reserves. Same thing, just in two different forms. All right, so that's it. Now there is one aspect of monetary policy that is somewhat fiscal. Okay, I'll put that on a separate, you know, alongside, and that is when it raises rates, then necessarily the government's going to pay more interest on its securities. So that's a fiscal expansion. And when it cuts rates, that's going to remove some income. So it does have, I should, you know, clarify, it does have some fiscal element to it in the rate setting function, okay? But it's really kind of minor compared to the real fiscal agent, which is the government, right? It's the government that decides through Congress, hey, how much are we going to spend? We need $780 billion for the military. Okay, boom, here you got it. You know, we got to spend, we send checks out to Social Security recipients. Okay, that's $1 trillion or more a year. we're paying Medicare. Okay, so all of these things, that's Congress that sets the spending. That's what adds. Or that's what subtracts, like what's happening now. Okay, let's raise taxes, or let's just keep taxes the way they are, but now we're going to cut some spending. So what happens? The tax deposits start to increase faster than the spending. So now that's the money being sucked out of our pockets, being sucked out of our accounts. That's not good. All right? That's not good. So I didn't pay a lot of attention to the Fed thing. I sold the rally. Looks good so far. I mean, it could bounce up over the next couple of days. It's very oversold. But look, in a situation like this, and again, we haven't seen this in 20, 21 years. In a situation like this where the government is running a surplus, I mean, I cannot get bullish. I cannot get bullish on the economy. That doesn't mean the stock market's going to crash like 1929 or anything like that, but you're going to go in a period of stagnation. You're going to go in a period of rising unemployment because firms are going to see lower sales and profits. They're going to try to sustain their profit level because Wall Street always, pushes on them to sustain that profit level. How do you do it? Cut costs. What do you cut? You let people go. Then people start to apply for unemployment, and then slowly the automatic stabilizers, unemployment, disability, all that stuff, it starts to expand, and then that's a natural safety net under the economy. But, we're going to have to start seeing, I'm telling you now, we're going to start seeing unemployment go up. And it's going to go up to a point where those flows are going to eventually start to exceed the tax flows. And that's when we know when the thing is going to bottom out. But until I see that happen, you got to be on the defensive. And please, people, please try to divorce yourself from this insane monetarism, monetary policy, tunnel vision focus. I mean, really, just don't pay attention to it. Don't pay attention. You're doing yourself a tremendous disservice. I'm telling you, if you pay attention to that stuff. And I know it's hard because that's all anyone ever talks about. That's all they talk about. If you read the blogs, if you read the financial journals, if you watch any kind of financial TV, if you watch, YouTube market commentary or whatever other than mine, they're all going to be talking about that today. That's all they're. What does soon mean? Come on, seriously? What a waste! What a useless, way to spend your time. What does soon mean? Come on. All right, that's it, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye.